prisoner for the Lord. That is today's topic. My name is Gabriel, and today we're going to be talking about being a prisoner for the Lord. I was reading in Ephesians today, Ephesians 4 and Ephesians 5, if you want to read it for yourself. But I got some cliff notes here, okay? We're going to be talking about the general topic of today is Ephesians 4:1. As a prisoner for the Lord, then I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling that you received. So, if we look at Paul's life, okay, Ephesians 4:1. Paul started out, he was the last apostle added, and he was basically going out there and slaughtering Christians until he had the turnaround when he ran into Jesus in the desert. And he was going to the different towns, basically, and he came back to this town and was saying, okay, I already spoke to you guys once before. Don't you guys understand that you got to be spiritually mature? You know, that we're not a prisoner of the Lord. We are a prisoner for the Lord. So Paul is saying here that he urges us to live a life worthy of the calling that we've received. So Jesus Christ bought our souls back from the consequence of eternal punishment in hell, which is separation from life, which life is God, or separation from God, which God is life. He saved us from that with pain and suffering, that cup of pain and suffering that Jesus had to drink on that day where he was tortured and killed. But then he resurrected and defeated all that evil. So Paul is saying, as a prisoner for the Lord, to have the privilege for him, I urge you to live that life. So we're going to go into Ephesians 4:17 here, okay? Ephesians 4:17 to Ephesians 4:18. So, okay, we got 4:17 to 18. So verse 17, we have, so I tell you this, and insist on it in the Lord, that you must no longer live as the Gentiles do, in the futility of their thinking. In the futility of their thinking, meaning it's futile, it's worthless, it's not going to add up to anything. The Gentiles. Who are the Gentiles? So the Gentiles are people like me and you, people that are not the Israelites. So Gentiles equals me and you. The ways of the Gentiles means like worshiping what you want. Okay, worshiping, we'll say worshiping the world. Okay? Gentiles worship the world. They worship sports, they worship, in Roman time they were worshiping, the fights and stuff like that. They worship whatever the world is offering. Pagans, okay, stuff like that, Gentiles. God is offering his hand not only to the Israelites, who started over here, Israelites who are God's original chosen people, but he's also offering it to the Gentiles who worship the world. But he's saying the Gentiles that give up worshiping the world and worship Jesus Christ instead of the world, that he will accept the Gentiles as well. So in that verse 17, he's saying, don't live as the Gentiles do, because in verse 18 it says here, they are darkened in their understanding and separated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardening of their hearts. Gentiles harden their hearts because they're worshiping the world. So as a Gentile, as someone that is not of the original chosen people of God, just in general, me and you, Gentiles, that's what that means. Me and you, people that are hearing this message right now, we got to be careful not to harden our heart and worship the world. So we can say harden heart or being stubborn, right, equals worshiping world. We don't want to do that. We want to. What's one thing that you can do to do that is softening your heart. So we gotta soften. How do you soften the heart? Read the Bible. By reading God's word and opening your heart open to what God is trying to tell you, you're going to soften your heart, and you're not going to, want to think as much in your selfish ways. It's still going to tug at you. Don't get me wrong, but by meditating in God's word, it's going to soften your heart. You're not going to want to worship the world. Therefore, you're going to change your heart. And that's why I always say read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because that's Jesus' message. And Jesus is going to be the one that washes you the most pure, because Jesus is the one that defeated all the evil, lived a pure, sinless life. The whole Bible is about Jesus. So if you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, then this is the quickest way to soften your heart, because you're reading the Bible and you're reading about Jesus, which is what this is all about. Okay, so God wants you to love God too. God wants you to focus on Jesus, his only begotten Son that he gave to the world. That was his plan to save us from the sin, which is the selfish ways of the Gentiles. Anyway, we're going to get into the third part here, which is verse 19, okay? Having lost all sensitivity, they have given themselves over to sensuality, so as to indulge in every kind of impurity, and they are full of greed. So the verse is saying in Ephesians here, we're going to bring it back to 18, the Gentiles, or verse 17, living as the Gentiles do, as it says in verse 19, the Gentiles choose to lose their sensitivity. They're not softening their heart sensitivity, and they themselves have given themselves over to sensuality. Whatever they feel they want to do, the sensuality, the sensations, they've given themselves over to the sensations because they have no sensitivity to determine what is good or what is bad. So they're just doing whatever feels good to them. They're not being spiritually mature, okay? And they're indulging in every kind of impurity, and they're full of greed. They want more, more, more. So by not softening their hearts to the Lord and being soft, they're hardening themselves, thinking that it's going to be better. But actually, it's actually making them softer to the things that they should be hardened towards. They're hardening their heart towards God, right? But then that makes them be soft and baby-like towards these very wicked sensualities that are going after them. And they're not sensitive enough in the spirit. In their heart, they're not sensitive enough. They're numb. And it prevents them from realizing, just like burning yourself on a grill, you're numb, you're not going to feel the burn. So they're just burning themselves, they're not sensitive to the sensuality, to the sensation of the burn. So Ephesians 4:17 through 19, actually, that's there. I thought that was extremely important. 17, 18, and 19, 3 different parts there. I broke it up into on purpose because every verse you should kind of pause and go, okay, boom, 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 break it down, look at it as a whole. Now going into a different part here, Ephesians 4:27, do not give the devil a foothold. Ephesians 4:27, 4, and then we got, okay. So you guys already got all of that. We're going to get Ephesians 4:27. Do not give the devil a foothold. That's pretty simple, but we'll go over it. Okay? I like to think of it in health, wealth, love, and happiness, as I always do. Simplify life. Do not give the devil a foothold in your health, where you can be trying to strive for your best body and stuff like that. Of course, you want to, your body is your temple, but let's not be greedy like the ways of the Gentiles. Let's not try to, have the best body so that we can attain the best things and be selfish and greedy with it. Or let's not try to be obsessed with the image of it and be, the most perfect version and be obsessed and OCD about it. We gotta also just be thankful for what we have. I deal with an injury, so a lot of times that can be the times where the enemy, the devil will try to scheme and be like, and get in my head and make me doubt that, I can't work out the way I want, I don't look the way I want to, right? Those are all just little whispers of doubt and fear and temptation and lures, traps, and baits that the enemy's going to use to try to scheme you into this loop, this hypnotic rhythm like we talked about earlier in other videos, and drift you away from your free will. You have to stay locked in on your free will and realize, do not give the devil a foothold in any category. Your health, same with wealth. You can strive to make more money. It's good to make money. God wants you to make money. God doesn't want you to live your whole life poor. But if you are poor, God doesn't want you to think with a greedy mindset. Of course he wants you to think, okay, I want to make more money for me and my family so I can provide for them. That's awesome. And God would, uphold you for that and be like, yes, that's amazing. But you don't want to take it too far and focus on making money so much that you don't spend any time with your family, or that it makes you angry, or that it just changes you as a person. Same with love, the romantic partner. You want to get love, and God knows that you want to get love, but don't rush it. Maybe it just hasn't happened yet. Happiness. The devil will use many different things in happiness for you to get a foothold. If you want to be a musician, like I did, like I still want to, the devil oftentimes will use that career that you want to do, and that thing that you could have used for the Lord, he'll trick you into using it for fame or for him, for the world. So instead of you writing maybe motivational, inspirational, positive music, you start changing to worldly music because you want more views. Or you start changing the way that you do your style, or you make your godly music more worldly to fit that. But even if you're not, as a Christian artist, trying to be more worldly, a lot of people like, I'll use Katy Perry for a quick example. She started out a Christian artist. She had a whole gospel album, and then she didn't go mainstream viral. And I don't know exactly her personal life, but then directly after, she went to Hollywood and didn't make any more music about Jesus or the Lord in general, didn't even mention it, just started being promiscuous. Don't mind that, it's my dog. That's when she came out with like California Girls and stuff. She immediately switched. So the devil is going to do that. You can see it in celebrities, but even in our small day-to-day lives, you're going to see if you give the devil a foothold. Like, I'll relate again to myself, because that's all I really have to give to you guys as viewers. As a smoker of a long time, whether it be cigarettes or with weed, that foothold of smoking is going to get you every single time. So don't give the devil a foothold. Instead of smoking, find a habit to replace it. Obviously, reading the Bible is a great one, but in this book, The Power of Habit, I read that you can do it by replacing the stimulant with something similar. So with smoking a cigarette, you get a head buzz, go on the run, you get a head buzz. You get what I'm saying. But we're going to move on to the final thing here of the video. Ephesians 5:10 to 5:11, which is before that, actually, Ephesians 4:31 to 32. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. So all the rage and anger, all of the injustice that has been dealt out to you in life, Paul is saying, the Lord is saying through Paul, rather, because that's how we should be looking at this, that the Lord is speaking through Paul. So we should be taking these words very seriously. So all the rage and anger, all of the slander, which means to like talk crap about people, all of that, along with every form of malice and any form of like feeling bad, you should put that aside. Just put it completely aside, even if it's justified, or whatever we call justified as humans. But that is for the Lord to take vengeance on. And we've, heard that before, that saying that the Lord will take vengeance. But this is another version of that, I believe. Get rid of all of your bitterness, rage, anger, brawling, and slander, because that is for the Lord to handle. put it aside. And then the verse 32 here says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ God forgives you. So as fellow Christians, I mean, I've experienced fellow Christians being really unchristian-like towards me, and you have to just forgive them, especially the fellow Christians, because they're getting toiled with, and they're taking the bait. So you gotta, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Remind them to read the Bible, but even if they don't listen and heed your advice, even if it's not a fellow Christian and it's an atheist, even if it's a complete stranger that steals your wallet or something, you gotta put all that malice and slander to the side. And remember, we're in a fallen world. This is a grand scheme. There's a whole lot more going on here. Whether it be randomness of the fallen world, or whether it be the temptations of the tactics of the enemy, either randomness or the tactic of the enemy, either or, you got to fight it with compassion, because eye for an eye ain't gonna work. Eye for an eye, everyone loves to say that, but instead for eye for an eye, you just say that like that eye is the Lord's eye. I don't even know what the opposite of that would be. Moving on from that, because just as Christ forgave us, we gotta find out what pleases the Lord, because that's what Jesus did. Jesus lived a life that pleased the Lord. So in Ephesians 5:10 and 5:11, first it says, find out what pleases the Lord. And the second verse it says, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. And I think that's what pleases the Lord, is to have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather to expose them. So we got 5:10 through 11. Because by exposing them, by looking at the world that we're living in, like the times of Noah, everything is celebrated and evil, we can focus on first exposing the darkness and seeing how obvious it is, right? And it's right in front of our eyes, and that kind of makes it a little bit easier to realize how real this all is. But also having nothing to do with it by saying publicly that you're not a part of it, that you don't want to be a part of that selfish greed, that you don't want to be a part of that fame and lustful culture. Even if you do want to, get an audience or something like that, you don't want to do it in that selfish, greedy way where you would just cop a bag, as the youngsters are saying, or whatever is going on nowadays. But you want to find out what pleases the Lord, and rather do things from that perspective. Even as a musician, going forth as a career, or if you want to be a chef that's successful, whatever it is, do it from pleasing the Lord, to where like you're not doing it for your own desires, but rather you're doing it to make the Lord proud in how you do it. So don't give the devil a foothold, but rather ask yourself how you can make not yourself proud, but the Lord proud, because it may be confusing at first to kind of put all of these selfless things before you, things that you don't want to do. Like you may want to be angry and frustrated and complain, but after a week or two of not doing those things, you're going to start to realize the difference that it makes, and that it like cleans up your life. So comment what you thought, what you learned, what you want me to talk about. Subscribe if you liked it. Share with a friend that needs it, and drop me a fat like. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Peace.